all the information in the world is not really going to do much unless you're practicing it correctly. So, do you know how to practice? Do you know if what you're practicing and the way that you're practicing is actually leading to optimal results? Or are you wasting lots and lots of time? Welcome to the Jazz Piano School Podcast, episode number 370. Welcome to the Jazz Piano School Podcast. My name is Brendan Lowe, and if you've ever felt stuck trying to learn jazz piano from a million different sources, this show is definitely for you. Each week, I break things down step by step to help you play with more freedom, more confidence, and a whole lot more swing. Everything I share here ties back to the system that I created and that we use inside the Jazz Piano School membership. So if you're ready for more structure and progress, I'll tell you how to check that out at the end of this episode. And hey, if you're enjoying this kind of real-world guidance, make sure to hit follow or subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. Welcome to the Jazz Piano School Podcast, episode number 370. I'm your host, as always, Brendan Lowe. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your support. This podcast can and will change your life if you let it. If you let it. That's the key phrase, right? Because it takes so much discipline and patience to integrate things that teachers tell you, to break out of your habits, to do what they tell you on a consistent basis and manner and not revert to old habits, right? There's a great book that I read. I think, what was it called? The 30-Day Routine or the 30-Day Habit or something like that. But essentially, it talks about you need to do something 30 days in order to create a new habit in yourself, right? So if you have the habit of doing something, to break out of that and create a new habit, you need to do something different for 30 days. So my challenge to you is to integrate and execute the practice habits that I'm going to be teaching you in this video. And there's only 5 of them. There's 5 of them. These are my 5 best ones. Use them for 30 days. Correctly. You have to use them correctly every single time for 30 days. Now, your practice session doesn't have to be long, right? It can literally be 5 minutes. 5 minutes every other day, 5 minutes twice a week. You could be practicing 10 minutes a week. It doesn't matter, right? But you need to do it for 30 days. So you need 30 sessions. So if you want to do it in 30 days, you can do every day for 30 days. But if you want to do it in 60 days, right, you can do twice, whatever, you can skip a day, right? That would take you 60 days, but you have to do it 30 times, right, essentially. So when you do this, I promise you, this had drastic effects on my performance, on my playing. And I've seen this because I've used this with so many students, hundreds and hundreds of students, probably thousands of students. And this was back in the day when I'm teaching in person, not even online, not even through Jazz Piano School when I started my business, but like in person, I would teach these right off the bat to my students. And it would be in the first lesson. And I'd be like, okay, no matter what I show you, none of that's really going to matter unless you're practicing it correctly. You have to practice things correctly in order for them to stick, and in order for them, especially in jazz, for them to integrate into your body so that when you play, you're playing in a spontaneous, natural way, because that's what jazz is about. You're creating on the spot. You're improvising essentially everything, right? And you just have this little kind of skeleton of a lead sheet there telling you the melody and the chord symbols, right? It's pretty crazy, honestly. And so, I'll tell you a really funny story. It's not funny. I mean, it's kind of amusing. But when my grandfather passed away, my whole dad's side of the family is musical, very, very musical. My dad retired. He was the former concertmaster of the Boston Symphony Orchestra for 38 years. My grandmother and my grandfather played violin and piano, and my grandmother's still alive, and she sung. My uncle was a concertmaster of the Quebec Symphony Orchestra, and my aunt plays cello, and my other uncle plays cello. Huge musical family. So it absolutely made sense that I was in music, right? So when my grandfather passed away, I was really the only one doing jazz. So I walked up to the piano and I had a folded lead sheet in my suit pocket, right? And my dad and my uncles and aunt, they all played and everyone played. And they were reading music, classical music, or I can't remember if they had it memorized or not, probably memorized. But I pulled out this little tiny piece of paper. And obviously, as a jazz player, right, a lot of times you don't even need music. I was pretty young, though, in my career. So the tune in particular that I wanted to play for his memorial, I did need the music, but I created all of that off of just the lead sheet, right? So it's so funny because we need to practice so that we can create spontaneous music in the moment in any situation we want, just from a little skeleton of melody and chords, right? And that's our whole goal. And so if we're not practicing to accomplish that, then we're really never going to be able to achieve the sound or the pro sound or our goal of, playing the way that we want and can hear in our head, right? So anyway, back to the practice habits. I guess it wasn't that great of a story in my mind. I think it was just amusing. All my family shared how amusing it was after that I just, played off this little piece of paper, which was funny because it was like a crumpled up piece of paper in my pocket. It was essentially just a lead sheet, a tiny little lead sheet. And I just pulled it out and unwrapped it, But these practice habits will completely change your life. And I put this challenge out there to you and write in, if you're a member, then post in the community. If you're not a member, post in the comments or just shoot us notes, right? On how it's going. This 30-day habit challenge routine. And you can only take one of them. If you want to just take one of them, that's fine as well. You don't need to do all 5. Just try one of them. And even implementing one will completely change your life. I'm going to get into that in just a second. Again, I keep plugging this because this free resource is so good. It's so good and everyone needs to have it. My 3-goal roadmap, Jazz Piano Learning Roadmap free resource. This is going to tell you exactly what tools, what methods, what strategies you need for every goal, and it breaks down the goals. Now, the 3 goals are your desire to play with other musicians or play in some sort of group setting, the desire to play solo piano, or the desire to improvise, right? Now, there's a lot of combinations. You may want to play solo piano and improvise. What do you need to do that? You may want to improvise, but in a group setting. What do you need to do that? You may not care about improvising, but you just want to play solo piano ballads. What do you need to do that? Right? So many students don't know what they need. And so they go out trying to get everything, trying to learn everything. You don't need to learn everything, right? So go get this free resource. It will literally clear up all that for you, jazzpianoschool.com/roadmap. It's the greatest free resource ever, honestly. Please, please, please go get it. I spent a lot of time on this. It's an educational resource. I'm kind of working up to the book that I'm going to be writing for jazz piano and learning. And so this is going to be a big component of that book and completely free. All right. So anyway, back to the practice habits. I'm excited. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for you to do these things. And please, please, please let me know how it goes. Let me know if you completed the challenge, right? And you're integrating this into your practice routine now. And let me know how your practice is going now that you've integrated these habits into your practice routines. Okay? All right. Let's dive in. Here we go. All right, practice habit number 1 that completely transformed my practice. So let's say you are working on an improvisational line, something like this. Let's say you're doing this, right? So you have a chromatic movement down into the 3rd, some scalar motion back up to the 5th, a little skip there, walking down into the root, and then another full bebop approach that's going to surround that G. So micro wins here, micro wins. If you are practicing this, right, what I would do is I would start to work on this line and then I'd make a mistake. And I'd be like, oh, okay, I'll try it again. Oh, whoops, no, I made a mistake. I would get it right. Okay, cool, I'll try it again. Whoops, I'd make a mistake. So these little tiny mistakes in between the wins kind of are muddying up essentially the way that you're building momentum, how you feel, what your body is internalizing We need more than just one micro win before we leave the piano. We need at least five. So when you go to practice something, whether it's a chord, a voicing, and this is very specific to a tool, right? It's not like a performance-based aspect. It's more if you are practicing some sort of specific chord change. Like if I'm practicing this chord or this chord here, I would need to play that chord or an exercise at least 5 times right to create a string of micro wins. Whoops, no. So again, 5 times in a row. Now, this string of micro wins is so helpful for our mind, our body, our feeling in our body, our feeling in just like our dexterity in the way that we are able to kind of spontaneously play something, because we don't want to be thinking about it. We want to be literally just internalizing it. And that 5 micro win string is really going to help us do that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cool. Then I could get up from the piano. But don't get up from the piano leaving with a couple of mistakes, right, in your practice for whatever tool it is you're working on. Because I promise you, when you come back to try it again, it's going to be the same and probably worse, okay? So that's going to be number 1. Now, number 2 is going to be rhythm and ritual. So I was practicing at very scattered times. Sometimes I'd practice on Mondays, and then I would skip a day. I'd go to Wednesdays, but I'd practice for 2 hours, and then I'd practice for like maybe 30 minutes the next day, and then I'd skip Friday and Saturday, right? So my schedule was all over the place, okay? What I did is I changed to very consistent ritual of practicing, and this helped me tremendously. So if you're putting your practice sessions at spontaneous times of day, when you feel like it, when you don't, I feel like going to sit down at the piano today, I don't, please try to change that, because I promise you, if you set an intention to practice, even if it's less than you're normally practicing, like even if it's just 15 minutes, but you do it consistently, in some sort of structured fashion every single day at the same time, it's in your calendar, it's an appointment you need to make for yourself, this is going to drastically change things. And if you can do that for at least 3 months, you're going to see more progress than you ever have before. So here's what I recommend doing. Again, just put an appointment in your calendar for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it is, the same time every single day. Now, if you can't make that, I know some people's schedules are crazy. What I'd recommend doing is, even if you can't do every day, do every other day, or have just some sort of consistency. So maybe it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or maybe it's just Tuesday, Thursday, whatever it is. Try to always do it on the same day at the same time. All right. Try to have some sort of consistent thread through all of that. Okay. That's number 2. Really try to build that in. Number 3 is going to be, essentially, I'm going to go to a chart right now and talk to you about the ghosting method. So, not that. The ghosting method is going to be this. So many times, if I'm playing through some portion of the nearness of you or any chart, right? We have the C minor, F7, playing this as a B flat major 7. Let's say we get to this E minor 7 flat 5 into this D7 flat 9 flat 13, right? So we go, and let's say we miss the A minor 7 flat 5. Let's say we play or something like that, and then we go, wait. No, okay. Wait, no. Okay, I kind of got it, and then we move on, right? Like, clearly that needs some practice, and maybe the D7 practice needs practice as well, okay? I'm sorry, the D7 chord needs practice as well. So what most students do in this case is they'll try to maybe play the line again, right? And then they play the wrong chord again, right? So the ghosting method here is Do not play anything that you're practicing until you know what the notes are by ghosting them, okay? So the ghosting technique allows your body to not learn mistakes. Every time you play a mistake, you're essentially training your body, right? That chord is the chord that's supposed to be right. Your hands, the feeling, your mind, you're essentially teaching your brain to play mistakes the more mistakes you play. So how can we start to limit that, right? The way that we do that is through the ghosting technique. So we go back. Now, when we get to this A minor 7 flat 5, I'm going to literally just put my hand over the chord. And I'm going to look at all the notes that I'm about to play in my hands. I'm literally staring at them right now. A, G, C, E flat, G, C. And I ask myself, are these the right notes? Do I know in my head that these are the right notes? Do I know? And what you're going to do is when you can confidently say yes, I know that what I'm about to play is the right voicing, then and only then you can press the keys down to play the chord. Boom, right? Same thing for the D minor 7 flat 5. Instead of trying to guess at the voicing that you're playing, you are going to ghost the voicing. I need a flat 9, I need a flat 13, I need my shells, and maybe a root in there, right? I have my hand over top of the notes. I'm looking at my hand. Are these the notes that are correct? Are these the notes that are going to produce that chord when I play them right now? And if you are not 100% confident that they are, you need to sit there until you are. You need to literally sit there and learn or know or just kind of research, I guess, and learn what are the correct notes, right? And this goes for any practice you do. So if you're practicing, again, maybe like a fourth voicing through the keys here, right? When you go to practice, don't practice through the keys and then, oh, made a mistake. Oh, made a mistake. Oh, made a mistake. Every time you play those mistakes, you're literally teaching yourself more and more mistakes. You're digging yourself a deeper grave because to get out of those mistakes, you have to do 3 to 5 times more work to play the correct thing to unteach yourself the mistakes. Does that make sense? So if you move to a chord and you don't know what the notes are in that chord, do not play the chord. Just do not play the chord. Now, this is going to take the utmost discipline and patience from you as a human being. I understand that, right? But I promise you, if you can follow this method, you will make more progress than you ever have in your entire life. This could be the single most best practice habit I get you into in this podcast. So again, I'm going to move to my F minor 7. I'm going to ghost the notes. I know that what I'm about to play is correct, so I am going to play. And I'm going to move to my B flat minor 7. I know without a doubt, without a sliver of a doubt, that the chord I'm about to play is correct. So I'm going to play, boom, E flat minor 7, boom, D minor 7, boom, C sharp, boom. Right? I know confidently, but I do not play. When I used to practice, I used to make mistakes, and this completely changed everything I was doing, and I made so much progress so much faster. Okay? So that is a great one. The next thing I'm going to go to here is the record and review. Okay? Was that 3? That was 2? Yes, this is going to be 3. So the record and review. Think about this. You have to record yourself and listen back to yourself to be able to assess what's happening. Because when you're in the moment playing, it's a completely different ballgame, right? Think about some sort of sports player and think about coaches and feedback and the way that athletes get feedback or anyone gets feedback. Now, in the game situations when they're playing, they cannot review the game and analyze themselves as they're playing, right? The whole purpose there is performance-based, right? It's to optimally perform as best as possible. What happens is they go back and watch video of themselves. They review themselves with coaches. In practice, they have coaches giving them feedback because they can't see themselves. They're executing certain steps. Now, it's the same thing in the piano. Even though you can hear yourself, right? In the moment, there's so many sensory things that are happening because you're in live time, you're playing and you're practicing. Even if you're practicing, right? There's so many different things. So you have to record yourself and spend at least 5 to 10 minutes going back, even in your practicing, right? Even in your practicing. So record what you're practicing. So if you're practicing any sort of thing, record it. Record. Let's say you're practicing this line. Right? If you're practicing this, you need to record it and then go back. Am I playing it right? If you're practicing your pocket or your groove over a blues, right? Right? If I'm practicing like my improv solo, literally in the moment, even for me, I would go back and listen to what I just played and be like, I was kind of out of the pocket there. I could have done this. So you have to record and review yourself constantly. Anytime you're practicing, anytime you're playing. What I did was I always had a recording device. This was back in the day. I had a tape recorder, and I would hit record on my tape recorder, right? So we have phones. We have all sorts of recording devices. This should be a no negotiation here, right? Everyone has their phone on them at all times. Put your phone on and record yourself every single time you play and listen back and analyze what's going on. I know it's hard. I know it's difficult, but this is going to drastically help you. Okay? All right. So the next one I'm going to talk to you about is the 1, 2, 3. Oh, that was 4. I'm sorry. I did micro wins. I'm just making sure. Practice routine, ghost method, record and review. Okay, this is number 5. My bad. So here is the last one, number 5. This is going to be the way that you practice an element. And I call this the practice backward method. So many times, I'm going to take the nearness of you again. I'm going to take the same section, A minor 7 flat 5. I see so many times I see students do this. They'll be playing. And again, I used to do this too as well. They get to that tricky chord or that tricky voicing, right? Oops. Okay. No, I didn't get that right. Then what happens is they go all the way back to the top of the tune, right? And this holds true for so many things, whether it's a full key exercise, right? And maybe you get to like, I don't even know, your G flat minor 7, and you play, okay, let me start again. C, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat. Here's my G flat again. Oh, shoot, I made a mistake. Back to C. C, F. Please, 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 please change this immediately, okay? The practice backward method. All right, so on the A minor 7 flat 5, first of all, we need to use the ghosting technique. This is kind of like a combo routine. Ghost the notes and then play them. Ghost the notes, 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 play them. How many times? 5 times. 5 times, right? 5 times correct. That'll be the lucky number for you. Now, where do we go after we played that A minor 7 flat 5 chord 5 times correct? Where do we go? Not back to the top, not back 8 measures, not back 4 measures, not back 3 measures, not back 2 measures, back 1 measure. 1 measure. This is the practice backward method. We're going to go back 1 measure. Okay, that's it. 1 measure. So we're going to go to the B flat major 7 chord. I know it just says B flat. And I'm going to try to hit that correct. Okay, now if I don't hit it correct, what do I do again? 5 times. Right, correct. 3, 4, 5. Okay, back 1 measure. Oh, amazing. I got it that time. Now what do? I got it back 1 measure. Where do we go? Not to the top, not back 8 measures, not back 4 measures, not back 3 measures. Now we go back 2 measures. We go back 2 measures from the mistake that we made. So I'm going to go back to the F7 chord. So now I start from the F7 chord. Great. I got it. Perfect. Now where do you think we go? That's right. Back 3 measures now. Back 3 measures. Now, 4 measures is the lucky number. If you can consistently play through 4 measures 5 times correct, okay, and hit that A minor 7 flat 5 chord correct 5 times back from 4 measures, then you can go back further. Okay, then you can test yourself and go back further. That's the lucky number. But let's say we go back 3 measures. So let's say we go to the F major 7, right? And then we get to the A minor 7 and we fluff it up. Oh, shoot, right? I made a mistake. Okay, where do we go now? Okay, well, the very important thing here is we need to play that chord 5 times again. And guess what? We start over. We start over to build up the sequence, the 4-bar sequence again. So now we'll go back to the B flat. Okay, play it correctly. Okay, got that. F dominant 7. Okay, I got it that time. Now I'm going to go back to the F. Okay, I got it again. Great. Now that's 3 measures. So when I say 4 measures, I mean essentially 4 measures before you get to whatever chord it is. So technically I would need to go back 1 more, okay? And you can play around with this and take it 5, 6, 7, 8. There's no harm in doing that, right? But the lucky number is 4, and I would intentionally go back even further, all the way back through the entirety of the tune. So I would stack on all of the measures playing before that mistake until I got to the very beginning, and then I'd play all the way through and make sure it was correct all the way back from the top. Okay, so just to review, number 1, the micro wins. Micro wins. Make sure that you play something 5 times correct, whether it's a chord, a voicing, 5 times. Right? Don't leave the piano with a couple of mistakes, like here and there. You get it right once, and then you make a mistake, then you get it right, and then you make a mistake twice more, and then you get it right once, right? And then you leave the piano. Well, there was a bunch of mistakes in there, right? You really need those micro wins consistently in a string of at least 5 times. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, same time ritual and consistent practice. This literally trains your body, it trains your mind, it trains your hands, everything. It trains the feeling of practicing at the same time. Even if it's for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, your body actually starts learning better. It starts practicing better when you have something consistent in your calendar booked out. I promise you. Okay. Number 3, the ghost method. The ghost method. This one is so important, and the practice backward method. So, ghost method, right? Ghost your chord. Ghost it. Chord. Right? I know exactly what notes I'm trying to play and practice for that chord I'm hitting in between my lick. Right? So I'm playing this kind of altered sound, sharp 9, flat 13, right? I'm ghosting it, okay? Make sure if you're playing mistakes, you're playing stuff that's not what you're intending to play, use the ghost method. Use the ghost method so that you are only playing the chord or the line when you absolutely know it's going to come out when you press those notes 100% correct every time, okay? And number 4, the record and review. Make sure you're constantly recording yourself and always listening back and analyzing. You got to record because you can't analyze in the moment. You have to separate those two. Record, practice, leave the piano or still sit at the piano for 10 minutes and listen to yourself. Take notes. Take a practice journal. I used to keep a practice journal and write notes down. Ooh, my comping, I'm playing way too many long comps. Ooh, I'm not catching any sharp 11s. Ooh, my groove is not happening in this type of key or something like that. I'd put notes down as I listen to my practicing, okay? And number 5, the practice backward method. Make sure you're practicing backward. Don't go back to the top. Don't go back to 8 bars. Don't go back to 4, 3, 2. You got to start playing the chord, ghosting it 5 times right, go back 1 bar. Right? You get that right, go back 2 bars. You get that right, go back 3, right? Go back 4 bars. And finally, that's the lucky number. If you can go back 4 bars before whatever it is you're trying to correct, that's going to be the lucky number that you can kind of start to move on from there because it really will be solidified. But again, if you want to go extra, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way back to the top like I used to do, go for it. Okay? Hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. I hope today's episode helped bring you some clarity or even inspiration for your playing. If you want a clear path to move forward based on your personal jazz goals, I put together a free resource called the Jazz Piano School Flowchart. It maps out the 3 most common goals jazz pianists pursue: how to play in a band, comping, solo piano, and improvisation. And it shows you exactly what to work on to get there. You can grab it now for free by going to jazzpianoschool.com/flowchart, or just click the link in the show notes. I'll catch you in the next episode, and as always, happy practicing.